Welcome to the workshop, District Plan Review, continued. I have to give an apology for my departure from this meeting early, and so we're going to deal with the strategic directions and vision statement. The two of those, the strategic directions changes to the Chapter 3 and the vision statement, Chapter 3. We're going to deal with that first, and then Councillor Clearwater will take over to chair the transport chapter, and then
no, I've got an early departure.
He has to leave at 3:30, and then David East will take over from there for as long as we need to go.
I thought we had a briefing at 2:30 with Sarah over the red zone.
Hey?
That was postponed. It's happening at another date.
Oh.
My understanding is you would have been told that. That's right, it was from 3 to 5.
Yeah, I've been told personally because I asked for clarification, but I'm not sure.
And that time originally came out of the district plan review, which is why it's now come back to the district plan review.
Yeah, but the problem was that nobody told us that it was going back to the district plan review when the residential red zone briefing got canned.
Okay.
So
I apologise that message came through that had occurred.
yeah, I think that the system operated automatically,
right,
but nobody communicated. So as a result, I sort of said, well, how come we've got the district plan review back in our diaries now that the residential red zone meeting got canned? And so I didn't know myself. So, but that's as it is. We've got afternoon tea available at 3 o'clock, but it may not take until 5 o'clock for us to complete all of these.
It may not, although I note that you haven't yet been through the subdivision development chapter, so that's your first insight into the the final draft, you might say.
Okay, all right. So, would you like to start with the?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just in front of you, just for your benefit, you've been handed a hard copy of this because just before everybody arrived, the lamp and the projector blew up, so we can't project onto the large screen there, although I note that the Mayor and I have it in front of us. What we will be looking at is exactly as what you will have on this run sheet that's just been given a copy to you, and without going through it all then, if I just take you to page 2, the top of page 2, that will give you an understanding of what's happening today, tomorrow and Thursday. So I can hand over to Peter Eamon then to go into the revisions that came out of the workshop that we had with you in April on the strategic directions chapter, and then we'll move to Alan Matheson on the actual proposed vision statement for the district plan to go into that strategic directions chapter. Peter.
So I'll start off, and it's probably easiest to refer to this landscape summary sheet of the changes that are proposed in respect of the strategic directions chapter. So,
has everybody got a copy of that?
The kind of familiar question that I ask every time we sit around this table to do this: do we still have any certainty around what the key dates are, and do we have an agreed process?
We don't yet have a signed off process, no.
So what's I guess what I'd really love to know is what is the deadline for getting an agreed sign off, so that we know that the work that we're doing is, unlike the Central City Plan, which Jamie and I spent a lot of time doing with Glenn and Jimmy. We spent all this time doing something, but government just came in and took it away from us anyway. So I'm just becoming increasingly concerned that we still have no clarity or certainty over some of the key assumptions behind this process. So, can we give government a time frame, or is it up to us, or who?
We're the ones who've asked the government to provide us with a process to implement our district plan review on a fast track basis. Otherwise, it will take years and years and years to do. So we're committed to that. They have. I have written to the Minister the relevant minister, who is not the Minister for Earthquake Recovery in this instance, but the Minister for the Environment, in order to seek some changes to the government's position and to extend the date for reporting. But I've not yet heard back.
Basically operate to give a full, like next week we sign off the full plan and we give it to the Minister.
Yes, although I understand that's yet to be confirmed. This work that you're doing now is not lost work. This work has to be done whichever process is used.
So
It's just that, like, when we did the industrial chapter, and like the issue around Wolfston, for example, if we had more time, we would do a different planning mechanism, because we would actually look at a holistic plan rather than just doing a chapter by chapter plan.
As expressed last week, we don't actually have more time because we're going on to the 13 chapters that still have to be written and developed for the district plan review. Post the district plan review in 2016 or sometime thereafter, there is time to undertake a more detailed urban renewal type process around the whole Wolston area, but not as a part of this district plan review.
okay, far away.
Okay, so I'll just quickly go through that table, starting off with the first one relating to natural hazards, and just following up on the comment made at the previous workshop, which was essentially to move the natural hazards objective, which if you look at the pages that are entitled, that look like this, they're entitled Strategic Directions. There should be a block of those. Has everybody got a copy of that? Anybody need a copy? Because we've got some
We do have
spares.
spares.
Okay. So just turning to then the very last page of that, which is at the bottom right-hand corner, says page 21 of 29, which starts off with objective 3.6.2, development, form and function. And you'll see some changes there in purple. So you'll see at A, subclause 2, we've moved natural hazards up in terms of the listing sequence. And we've also incorporated the wording more closely to what's in the Resource Management Act, using the words avoid, remedy and mitigate. So then,
So people are generally happy with that. I think that's good.
okay, moving on to the second issue, which was in relation to urban design and the need to just clarify that that design quality was important throughout the city, but that issues, the relevant issues would differ for different areas depending on the environment and the function of those areas. So an amendment has been made, and that can be seen on the first and second of these sheets, which have page 8 of 29 and page moves over to page 9 of 29. So you can see in 3.4.3 subsection B, the purple wording at the bottom of B there.
I don't have purple wording on the copy that I have. I don't know if others do.
Yes, mine's got purple wording on it. Maybe you didn't.
Page
You printed
9.
it out
Okay.
on a.
Oh, yes, it continues on to
Black and
page
white.
9.
Okay, sorry about that.
So moving then on to a couple of issues that have come up from further consultation responses that we've received, both in respect of, or both seeking greater recognition of strategic infrastructure. The first was seeking a number of amendments in relation to giving that greater recognition, but particularly wanting it in respect of electricity transmission, the electricity transmission network. Amendments are proposed to reflect that, but within the wider term of strategic infrastructure because the issues that they were raising in terms of the electricity transmission network were as equally relevant to other strategic infrastructure. Likewise, the last one there, which relates to recognising the regionally and national significance of some infrastructure. Again, although there's an objective about ensuring efficient provision and use of infrastructure, it was thought it's considered that it's worth adding an amendment to emphasise the importance of strategic infrastructure in particular. So those changes, if I just take you through them though, first of all starting with clause 3.4.4.3, which is the third one on your block, which is page 10 of 29. See 3.4.4.3a, and you can see some additional purple wording in there. The wording including strategic infrastructure of local, regional and national significance. And also in terms of the directions, if you look at the next page, which is 18 of 29, in clause 3.5.4.3, both in A, there's similar wording there, recognising the importance of strategic infrastructure, and then also in B, just adding in the national policy statement on electricity transmission to make sure we've captured that national policy statement. And then the final one, and this will have been attached to the summary sheet, which is another copy of Objective 3.6.2, and it'll just be a half-page document like that. Been attached as with a paperclip to the summary. But it's still got the purple amendment that we made in relation to natural hazards. But then down in 6, it's again adds particularly strategic infrastructure to give emphasis to that, because certainly the policies that follow on from this objective give greater protection for strategic infrastructure than infrastructure generally.
Just going back to page 18 of 29, 3.5. When it goes down to national policy, recognition of the importance of strategic infrastructure. We don't need to word that as a regional or national significance?
No. There's actually a definition of strategic infrastructure, and it lists exactly what those pieces of infrastructure are, which is one of the reasons we didn't really want to get to the point of putting in electrical infrastructure, because we've had it from every single infrastructure provider, I think, has said specify our infrastructure, and we thought a much easier way is to talk about it as the strategic infrastructure, and then we've got a definition of what that strategic infrastructure is.
Thank you.
So that's all the amendments, and I'll leave the vision to Alan, who pulled it all together while I was away. I unfortunately have a meeting with my insurance company about the rebuild of my house in about 10 minutes.
And why is that unfortunate? We should simply say good luck.
Thank you.
That's right.
Yes, and at least they're talking to me. So
Yes, that's right.
Oh, right. So thank you.